What could it be, guys? What could be the most important piece of writer advice that everybody supposedly keeps secret and doesn't talk about enough? Good morning and welcome to a new episode of The Blunt Writer. I am not fully awake yet, but I am drinking my coffee and I have a long day ahead of me. So I thought I will do a quick video to tell you guys what seriously is the most profound piece of writer advice. And after you hear this, I swear you will have the most epic piece of advice and you won't have to go asking people for advice anymore. So, here's the advice. Stop it. Stop asking for advice, guys. Seriously, stop asking for advice. This is a toxic culture trait. We are all taught to go ahead and ask people, oh, can you tell me how you did that? Can you tell me what I should do with this problem that I'm having right now? And I'm not saying that sharing life experiences is a bad thing. In fact, it's critical to our collective growth and understanding ourselves and, reinforcing and renegotiating our worldviews. So this is how we grow. But that's sharing life experiences. And it's a very different thing from seeking advice. Because when you seek advice, there's already an inherent power play. It's like you're asking somebody, oh, holy person, please tell me. Please give me the answer. And even though that person could have a completely different life, different worldview, different life experiences that have taught them to, understand or have certain notions in the first place, you're going and asking them for advice that might never really integrate or dovetail with your ambitions and your idea of self-growth. So, you know what, this whole thing of advice giving in our culture, and especially if you're here in India, oh my God, we love to give advice. It's actually just a space to talk about yourself and to project your fears. So when you go and ask somebody their opinion on something, it depends. Their advice is going to be based on their sense of morality, is going to be their sense of paranoia and insecurities they've faced in their life, and they're going to project all of that on you. And then you're supposed to take that advice and then do something productive with it. I don't know how that works. What you can do is you can hear about other people's life experiences. You can ask particular questions, and then you can add that to your brain or your mind or your consciousness and add that as a data point and then kind of make your own inferences about the world. But if you take advice just because in the writing world a writer is published, you don't want advice, you just want to hear their stories. Because when you're trying to get published, or when you're writing something, or you're doing, you're completely obsessed with the writer life, you just want to fill up your mind with everything that's about writing and how people, like when I was getting my first book, before I got my first book published and I had submitted it to editors, all I was doing, I was reading other people's blogs about how they got published, how I got published, and I was obsessed with that. Like seriously, I was obsessed. And so then I had to get myself out of that. I actually really didn't, but life took over. So my greatest piece of advice for all you writers is to acknowledge that you have a unique path and that you will understand this world differently, and that you have to seek knowledge. Yes, 100%. You have to be able to share your life experiences and you have to hear life experiences from other people, but don't go asking for advice. Don't go asking any writer, oh, how do I get published? That is seriously, never ask that question. Just never ask that question, because how they got published and how you get published will be completely different. And even if it's the same, it'll be a very completely different path that got you there. So learn, read. There are 100 resources you're living in the time of the internet. There's answers everywhere, and they're life stories and talks that are not trying to force a particular judgment or way of thinking on you, but just a shared life experience that you can take from and that you can learn from, and always take the opportunity to challenge your perspective. But don't recycle this habit that we have in our culture to go on asking for advice so that we can keep projecting our fear-based energy with everybody else and say, well, what I think about publishing and my story about publishing is really on the brass tacks level really irrelevant to your story. And Once you own that, you'll be able to actually hear other people's story with a way more open mind, and then be able to actually take from it instead of just asking for advice, getting a 2-bit answer, and really it having no impact on your life. So I hope this has helped. Stop asking for advice.